Okay. Burnishing the side of my 18 karat yellow gold ring. What should it look like? Let's see if we can pick it up on camera. It should look like nice, flat, shiny, uniform. We're looking for uniformity. When I initially touch the burnisher, which is traveling at 30,000 RPM, to the ring, I always touch it under magnification here first on the outside. Why? Because I know I'm going to compact the whole thing anyway, and my hands are rested. They're resting on something. They're not going anywhere, and I want to make sure that my pitch is as perfect as possible. What do I mean by pitch? My angle of approach with my burnisher, the angle at which I hold the ring. Encountered a tiny pit on the yellow gold ring. I'm going to laser it and continue. Okay, I've lasered it. And now it's gone. It was right there. You'd never know it. Okay? Now I stop right here. This area next to the head, the burnisher can't get that close because the burnisher's wide. I don't want to start destroying the head. So I stay out here. This area in here, it will be nice to process with your ultrasonic burnisher because it's a tiny pin. You can get into tight areas like that. All right. Now I'm burnishing the outside of the knife edge. I'm going to do one facet of the knife edge at a time. I've always felt that if a bench jeweler is going to achieve his full potential, he needs to get used to, as uncomfortable as it may be, working under high magnification. Speaking for myself personally, I cannot do the same work without magnification that I can do with. Okay. The ring has been burnished on the sides. The knife edge has been burnished, and the head is looking very good, nice and smooth. I'm still going to use my 3M wheels on it, and I'll show you what that looks like. I take number 400 sandpaper. Nice, sweeping movements. Sand my work. Trying to make sure that I'm true to the intended contour of the side. Ultimately, the polisher is going to lap this. He's going to make some decisions about how much to do to it, but I want to make sure that my work is precise enough that it's clear what he should do to the ring. Okay? Now, on the outside, get rid of that flap. polisher is going to go over this. He's going to refine those facets, make them perfect, but we're going to make sure that he knows what the ring is supposed to do. We don't want ambiguity. In fact, if there are decisions to be made about how to finish a ring, because maybe the design isn't perfect or it doesn't translate well from CAD into reality, a lot of those decisions are made at the bench. So in order to fully bench it, sometimes the bench jeweler has to ask the designer or the customer service representative what was intended. Now, I see we've got a little hump here. I'll take that down a little bit more. Sometimes sanding reveals where you've got a little extra metal. Get rid of that. And that is ready to go into the disc finisher. I like the disc finisher because when it's done, you're not going to see any of these scratches. I don't even have to take it to 600 paper, which that would remove some of the scratches, leave finer scratches. This side I've processed with 600. This side I've processed with 400. When it comes out of the disc finisher, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. All the scratches will be gone. All right. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, let's burnish our other rings. This one got some little anomalies on the side there. Let's get rid of those. You don't have to make it perfect. You just have to make it reasonably flat for the burnisher so that the burnisher is going where it's supposed to go. Okay. See a little extra metal on the corner there. Take care of that. And let's burnish it. Now, the first thing I do when I'm burnishing up against stones is I create myself a safety edge by turning the burnisher parallel to the shank, and I'll give myself a little edge right there. And that way when I turn the ring to burnish, I've got something to burnish up to. Switch back to my medium burnisher. That's what that little safety area looks like. Now I'm going to burnish up to it. When I'm burnishing the base of the shank, I am also on the lookout for areas that I may not have filed completely, or worse, filed too much. I want to make sure that it's devoid of any flat spots, anomalies, or problems that wouldn't be taken out by lapping. Okay. The back is burnished. It's nice and uniform. It's the right shape. Let's do the side. Okay. I've encountered my first problem, and bench jewelry, benching pieces is all about recovering from problems, right? There's a million different scenarios. This side looks good. This side requires a little metal on the inside. It's got a low spot right here. No big deal. I'm gonna add a little metal, burnish it down, burnish the inside, make sure that it stays perfect and full. So, this is 14 white. I'm gonna take some 14 white. To give you an idea of when you get proficient on the laser, how long this sort of repair takes. The first thing I do is I add metal, excuse me, on the inside. Okay, first thing I did is I added a rim of metal on the inside to bring up the level. Now I'm going to add right here, and I'm going to burnish the metal to the edge to give myself a nice crisp 90-degree edge. Okay, now I have a small lump of fresh metal right there, which I can use to hammer and make the corner full again. And there we go. Now I've got enough metal to do what I want to do. So when you become proficient on the laser, you'll be able to raise the surface that quickly. When you're not proficient, it's going to take considerably longer. happy with that. Here, let's use those 3M wheels. So, we've got two colors. I have here red, which is kind of a medium. It's a little bit finer than the white, and blue. You can go white to blue, red to blue, it's fine. The one rule with these is that you want the radial disc, first of all, the tine should be facing backwards, and second of all, so when I spin it, they're always facing back, like they're being, like hair being blown back in the wind. And what you do one way, you should always turn and do the other way. So when I'm processing a curved surface, okay, process it one way, and then I flip it around and I process it the other way. Let's do that on the side of the tank here. I like to say it in my mind, out to in, or excuse me, in to out. Feather touch. And out to in. Unnecessary on the shank. It's going to get processed by the disc finisher anyway. But just to illustrate the concept. So, process the front one way. And then we flip it around and we process it the other way. Okay. Ring's looking pretty good. The disc finisher will finish that one off. What do we have left? The rose ring. This is the easiest one to burnish of all. Nice and soft, relatively straightforward lines. Burnish something like this, hopefully less than 5 minutes. Let's do that now. Now, one consideration. On a style like this, in a soft metal like rose, is these beads come to the very edge of the design. So when I'm processing this side, I have to be very careful not to pitch down so that I'm ruining those beads when I'm burnishing. So magnification helps with this sort of precise work. I pretty much have to hit it almost perfect. If you can't hit it almost perfect, or you are not used to using a burnisher, or you're new to it, you should not be processing a ring like this. I'm almost done burnishing the side, and I will show you what that looks like. Okay. Very perfect pitch required on this. Everything's got to be perfect. You can't go in, you can't go out. The beads are right there. You just got to nail it. Let's do the other side. If I had to take a best guess, estimation of time, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds a side should be your target. Oh, ran into a little pit. Let's stop. Laser the pit. It doesn't require extra metal. And continue. Fairly superficial. I was able to laser it. It left a tiny dimple, which was crushed by the burnishing. So, when you can incorporate, this is why I like to do bench at my laser, because I can be extra fast when things come up. These are the types of things that can slow you down. The laser's busy. It can slow you down. That's why it's nice to have several rings to work on at once, so I don't have downtime. I encounter a pit, I need the laser, somebody's on the laser, I move on to another ring. Again, gave myself a little safety edge. on either side to burnish up to. And we are ready for sanding. Okay, let's talk about sanding for a second. I can use my sanding roll on this, but we're gonna come up to beads here pretty quickly, so we wanna be careful. Two things. One, on my sanding roll, I cut it diagonally so there's no flap. If there's a flap, I don't even wanna do this with my sanding roll if there's a flap. Too dangerous. That flap will be hitting those beads and ruining them. So, literally protect the design with my fingers. I still like the roll for blending the back. See how nice and perfect that became? But I will approach the bead with a stick, like so. Being very careful not to hit the beads. I blend that into what I just did, and voila. Sand that side. Again, pitch is very important. Can't be pitched down. When I am sanding a ring, let's bring the light in here. When I'm sanding a ring, every time I sand a ring that I burnish myself, I'm grading myself on how I did on the burnishing. If I did just an okay job, there will be dents in the ring on the inside rim where I pitched it incorrectly. This takes years to get perfect, or near perfect at, I should say. Nobody's perfect. But to get near perfect, it takes years. So don't be too hard on yourself. I see a little something there. What is that? A pit? Let's take a look. It is a tiny, tiny, tiny